Upper echelon of lay, upper echelon of way, find that. Upper echelon of lay, upper echelon of way, find that. Entertain innocence where beyond be all but bound to price. And this be the earth for the dead, for the rain, for the within, the within me, for all the pure, for the must become a child again. Born after, this would be the serious, pathetical contemplation of the memories in which you can find the power of perception which rules within, for the secret depth of that, for the fathomless consideration, for the receiving of the information, for the all senses that make all the central equal to heaven. Comprehend after the itself for the magnitude of the world, involved for the mysteries of the beat of common sense, inaccessible for the secret of perceptive, fancy that for the repository for the treasury, things that are past to the presentation for the things to come. Thy name be glorified, evermore for the miracle, the divine, for the godness, goodness. This be the flame of the zeal, for the only love, for the joy, for the even over the earthly bodies, and the has created all things invisible, over things in the material, sensible, animals, the vegetables, the minerals in the bodies and celestial, bodies in the terrestrial, four elements in the volatile spirits, trees of the herbs and the fire, for the influence of heaven, for the clouds, the vapor, the wind, dew for the rain, for the hail, for the snow, for the light, for the darkness and the night, for the day, for the seasons of the year, for the spring, rivers and fountain, the ocean, the golden silver, for the precious and stones, the gold, the fine, the wine, the oil, for the sun, the moon, the stars, the cities, for the nation, the kingdoms and the bodies and the man, for the greatest and treasure, for all, for the each other, within the Lord. I find that for the infinite of the souls, for the givers of the body, for the such glorious things I can adore. I find that wondering. Now for the eye, for the angel I came down, for the bright, for the all things that here, for the first among that, for the works that I did appear, for the this be the crown, for the world, the simple, for the eternity, for the soldiers did. I did that, for I did, I see me, the dead man's easy, feed me, see me, the final talk, for the magnificent, for the only liberty, for the lovely air, for the divine high soft, for now for fire. I can find the stars who did it, entertain the saints. So rich and great scene, man, for the wrong, you must endure my esteem, for this be the innocent gift, and the bones be grown. God did all the glory, show that for the vigor, for the sense, for this would be the all that opposite spirit, for the within that the flow, for the seed of life, for this would be the wine, for the nothing, for another word, for the this would be the divine I am. Upper echelon of lay, upper echelon of way, find that. Entertain innocence where beyond be all but bound to price. And this be the earth for the dead, for the rain, for the within me, for all the pure, for the must become a child again. Born after, this would be the serious, pathetical contemplation of the memories in which you can find the power of perception which rules within, for the secret depth of that, for the fathomless consideration, for the receiving of the information, for the all senses that make all the central equal to heaven. Comprehend after the itself for the magnitude of the world, involved for the mysteries of the beat of common sense, inaccessible for the secret of perceptive, fancy that for the repository for the treasury, things that are past to the presentation for the things to come. Thy name be glorified, evermore for the miracle, the divine, for the godness, goodness. This be the flame of the zeal, for the only love, for the joy, for the even over the earthly bodies, and the has created all things invisible, over things in the material, sensible, animals, the vegetables, minerals in the bodies and celestial, bodies in the terrestrial, four elements in the volatile spirits, trees of the herbs and the fire, for the influence of heaven, for the clouds, the vapor, the wind, dew for the rain, for the hail, for the snow, for the light, for the darkness and the night, for the day, for the seasons of the year, for the spring, rivers and fountain, the ocean, the golden silver, for the precious and stones, the gold, the fine, the wine. We are finding out the true melody. For the wonder where how I find an angel came I down. For this to be the bright for all things are here. For the first of all the works and I did appear. For the how the glory me. Dead crown for the royal recipient. For the eternity which my soul did walk. Everything that I see now me dark. And this is skies and I find the magnificent for the level air. How divine for the how soft and how sweet for the fair. For the star did entertain my sense. The work of God so bright and pure. So rich and so great did that seem and ever must endure. For the esteem for the this be the hell. For the innocence within the bones that did grow. Why my God for the all the glory show. For the this be the vigor for the sense. For this be the all the spirit. Within that did flow for the seeds of life and like the wine. I had nothing for the world for the did I know but I was divine. I was harsh for the ragged, for the objects to conceal, for enough for their oppression and tears to just be the cries, sins, grief, complaints, dissensions and weeping eyes from where I hid, and only from the things revealed, and this in the heavenly for the spirits, and only the angels surprised, and this a state of innocence and the bliss, not for the trades, not for the poverties, to fill my sins of the streets we were paved with, nothing but the golden stone for the boys and the girls, for they were mine, for this be the, all the lovely fits of the shrine, the son and man for the holy ones, and the joy for the beauty for the pure to me, and this one everything for the which and here I found for like an angel I seen for the adorning of the ground, for the rich and diamond for the pure, for the gold, for the every place I was seen for the road, the splendors, and this would be the way white for the I can find the blue for the minute eyes, and did I find anywhere for the mind? I find everywhere, behold, with the great wonders of the clothes, with the glory for the did appear for the amazement, the novice bliss. This with the wealth for the ever there, everywhere. Don't joy to this, it'll be the curve of the endeavor of his properties. Envy for the avarice of the only the fraud for the fans of the spoil. Even the pepper that's a blue for the splinter in my eyes. Also did the hedges and ditches and limits and bounds. Dream not for the off for those who wonder about all men's grounds, until I'm found not to repose the only proprieties for the only themselves for the mind, for the hedges and the ornaments, and the wall for the bar for the coffers. Over those the rich, the content for the dividing for the joy for the all combined. I find out for the steam for the only the joys by being born, for this will be the where the scene where I was born, where I should return. I find innocence in which the most I wonder for the most, and this esteemed bliss. Laying in puddles of reflections and painful erections, and no reaction to pain, heart bleeding down the drain. Dry to doubt. Who's the game for the stains and not to choose to stay? The fabric you fabricated for the inebriated, the wine, the humping, hang Wednesdays, and never that answers out for the question of cold blocking. The number as if she was playing the Hell's Mary overtime. No coaching, no strategy, no accountability for no apparently appreciated part for that occasional case of that casualty. Casually, usually we not knowing us, we gotta go the way we do not know how I'm trying to find not loosely or both ends of the cistern and the melancholy of the melodies that you play my heart and streams. Yarn, that's what for your cohort made for performing. First hand move, more before for the mediocrity. Media premeditated for the medicated, the mediocre strategically split to be for the unapologetic for the no logical or no memory for the no memo, no pen to live, letter, heart that would penetrate the each other. Injection, find that for what? Find premiere. Prior to the practice of awareness that you wear me out for the mind, body, and spirit. What's left for me, no rights and no remorse, and more close to the mortality. No rights for me, and no matter reason for the treating me for the tacky box. Hook up to bait to the catfish. Another day for the kill me, pray. Pray me by meat for the meat, dairy, and for the words of beef, propaganda for the proportion of the hang me. By the meat for only you would not show me, with no heads up, with no hang, no letters, you can't read what you're saying. It's all the missing with the vows of the final altars around the altar. Choose to find an alternative for those who lose none, native for the alter ego. Lack of the words and numbers of times that no accountability is the mentality for those limbs and trees, mistreated for the trees, misery is missed to me, to simulate the situation and simulate. Bad taste in the guilt in your mouth that couldn't chew, or such slowly for the throat for the broken. The same testament that meant to be tested, meaning to the ministry. Minus the skull for the crown. Cloud of be raining, laying in puddles of reflections and painful erections, and no reaction to pain, heart bleeding down the drain. Could have known for the happiness the cloud of be raining, laying in puddles of reflections and painful erections, and no reaction to pain, heart bleeding down the drain. Dry to doubt, lose the game for the stains and not to choose to stay. The fabric you fabricated for the inebriated, the wine, the humping, hang Wednesdays, and never that answers out for the question of cold blocking your number as if she was playing the Hell's Mary overtime. No coaching, no strategy, no accountability for no apparently appreciated part for that occasional case of that casualty. Casually, usually we not knowing us, we gotta go the way, but do not know for how trying to find a knot loosely at both ends of the cistern and the melancholy for the melodies and you played my hearts and strings. Yarn, that's what for your cohort made for the former. First hand move, more before for the mediocrity. Medium premeditated for the medicated, the mediocre strategically strict to be for the unapologetic for the no logical or no memory for the no memo, no pen to live, letter, heart that wouldn't penetrate the eject. Injection, find that for what? Find premiere. Prior to the practice of awareness that you wear me out for the mind, body, and spirit. What's left for me, no rights and no remorse and Morse codes to the mortality. No rights for me and no matter no reason for the treating me for the tackling box. Hookups to bait to the catfish. Another day for the kill me, pray. Pray me by meat for the meat, dairy, and for the wares of beef, for propaganda, for proposed proportions and hanging me. By the meat for only you could not show me with no heads up and no hang, no letters you can't read for what you're saying, but it's all the missing with the vows of the final altars around the altar. Choose to find an alternative for those who lose none, native for the alter ego. Lack of the words and numbers of times that no accountability was the mentality for those limbs and trees, mistreated for the trees to the sweet misery it was missed to me, to simulate the situation to insinuate. Bad taste of the guilt in your mouth that couldn't chew, or suck slowly for the throat for the rope. The same testament that meant to be tested, meaning for the ministry, minus the skull for the crime. We are finding that within the true melody for For the wonder where how find an angel came down. For this to be the bright for all things are here. For the first born, the worst, and I did appear. For the high, the glory, me. Dead crying for the world, receiving for the eternity which my soul did walk. Everything that I see now me dark, and this is skies, and I find the magnificent for the level air. How divine for the house soft and how sweet for the fair. For the star did entertain my sense of the work of God, so bright and pure, so rich and so great did that seem, and ever must endure. For the esteem, for the this to be the health, for the innocence within the bones that did grow. Why my God, for the all the glory show, for the this to be the vigor, for the sense, for this to be the all the spirit within that did flow, for the seeds of life and like the wine. I had nothing for the world, for the did I know but I was divine. I was harsh eye for the ragged, for the objects to conceal, for enough of their oppression and tears, and this be the cries, sins, grief, complaints, dissensions, and weeping eyes from where I hid, and only from the things revealed, and this and heavenly for the spirits, and only the angels surprised, and this a state of innocence and the bliss, not for the trades, not for the poverties, to fill my sense of the streets we were paid with, nothing for the golden stone, for the boys and the girls, for their mind, for this to be the, all the lovely fits of the shine, the son and man for the holy ones, and the joy for the beauty for the peer to me, and this one everything for the which here I found, for like an angel I seen, for the adorning of the ground, for the rich and diamond, for the pure, for the gold, for the every place I was seen, for the road, the splendors, and this would be the wife, and I can find the blue for the minute eyes, and did I find anywhere for the mind, I find everywhere, behold, with the great wonders, for the clove, for the glory, for the did appear, for the maid's smith, and novice bliss, this for the wealth, for the ever there, everywhere, don't join to this, it'll be the curve of the endeavor of his properties, envy for the avarice, for the only the fraud, for the fans of the spoil, even the pepper that's flew for the splinter in my eyes, also did the hedges and ditches and limits and bounds, dreamt not for the off for those who wander about all men's grounds, until I'm found not to repose to their proprieties, for the only themselves, for the mind, for the hedges and the ornaments, and the wall for the bottom, for the coffers, over those the rich, the content for the dividing, for the joy, for the art combined, I find out for the steam, for only the joys by we born, for this would be the where the scene, where I was born, where I should return. And I find an innocence in which the most I wonder for the most, and this esteemed bliss, and this the most I boast ever for the ever shall enjoy, for this within that felt no stain for the spot of the sin, no darkness didn't overshade, for the within this pure bright, no guilt did crush that, no fear for the invading of my soul was all full of life for the joyful sense and purity, and all I can remember. Every night for the meat to be bright enough for the I can remember the December for the February, the serious meditation and employ that soul within. I find out for the taking up of the joy, for the seem outward, for the only thing to know, for the fly, the object for the don't need to feed the eye, for the, those who be the objects and did the my rhythm, the praise and love. Glory must and boast our head for what your presence do not find removed. Constantly daily for the presence of rejoicing that did the sea. Eyes from others to them to me, the inward inclination that I feel for the everest, for the pride, for the soul that when kneel, enough for the admiration, no lust of strife, and this polluted for the infant, for the life, for the fraud, for the anchor, for the movement, the malice and jealousy, despite truly love and contentment for the all delight, where my soul for the heaven, what bliss, powerful delight, this for the inspire, for the deadly kneel, where there be no for the nature, the pure, for the custom, for the vicious, or that for the so sure enough, for the God did a miracle, for the guilt, for the removing of I can find the soul for the feeling of this love. It was the day for the wearing, my happiness, the feather strength, for the brightness of the ray. That to see me for the surround, where it is, and hear the life of the innocent unto me for the world, for the true delight, for this to be the day for the sea, for the prospect, for the gate, for the heaven, the day, for the ancient life, for the ever eating over the convey, for the over the Adam, the there, for the day, for the spirit. Entertain that paradise and had a sight for the innocence is beyond all bound and pride. There's progress. You're a pro. There's progress. There's progress. There's progress. You're a pro. What's more the less, the more you know. My salutation comes out to those with the eyes and the hands which we're here. I find for the rosy cheeks with this then my life begins and where I have been. Behind what curtain where you from? Me head so long for where was I for the abyss? Speaking in tongue for the silent for the so many thousand you can find out beneath the dust that I choose. The chaos of lies, but this and cut I smile the tears. With lips, hands for the eyes, and ears to perceive. Welcome your churches when now I receive for that now. So long for there was nothing for the eternity for the little. Think for such joys as ears for the tongue, for the celebrate or receive, for the such sounds to hear, for such hands to feel, such feet beneath the skies, for the such ground to meet, for the distant new. Burdens of joys of which yellow for the golden pearls and excel. Such a sacred treasure for the limits and the boys, and this will be the sucks who does and find a dwelling for the organized and joints and this is the veins. And this will mean much wealth, and for the including all for that for the world contains, for the dust I rise and now for the nothing for the now. Awake for the bright the regions, for this is how you know my salutations to the gift from the God I take, for the earth, for the seas, for the light, for the day, for the skies, for the sun, for the stars, for the mind, for the if that prize. Long time before my mother's womb and I was born, the God preparing this to this glorious store. This for the world, for me adorned, into the Eden, for the divine fair, for the so white and bright, and to come his son for the here, stranger thus that meet, stranger glory see, stranger sorrow for the treasures, for the logic of the fair, for the world appear, for the strangers all the new to me, for the this to be the mind I should be, for the nothing was, another stranger for the all, for the yet that brought the past. I find that for the strange, similarly for the shadows into water, for the disobedient, unexperienced, to the fancy, for the sweet mistake, for the death is alive, for the mistake, for the false and intending for the to be true, and sinning and seeming wasn't somewhat for more than the view, for the desert to instruct that mind, for the things that lie behind, for the many secret to show us to show, which afterwards to come to know, for this to be the what the vital waters to bring from another world, for the beneath that, for the thinking, for the wide, the lovely, spacious skies, to reverse there, abused mine eyes to the fancy, other feet, for the came on to the touch to me, for the something to puddle, for the other did play, for the another world, for within it that I lay, beneath that water, for the people to drown, and yet for another, for the haven crown, another spacious region, for the seem to go, for the freely, for the moving to and from, for the bright and open space, and I saw their very face, and this would be the eyes, hands, feet. They had like mine, but another sun, for the did them shine enough for the strange that people that shown to find a wall. Yet I can never hear them talking enough for the throw the little for the water and the change, and not for the dry oxygen. The horse that might drink for the dust, and be the worlds that should see. Admit it for the other, for the confines, and to behold that light for the darkness and heat for the cold, and call them all for them for the be they called in vain, for there's nothing speeches for the couldn't entertain. That for the spectre to find, some other for the word, for the only the world, for the please my mind, for the pain. Saw that by these for the you and the fellow for the woman with you can see so painfully singing and not that find the family kept the staff for the seal between the defend the very bird feet, and I can find a chance and that for the other me for the world that's between the exit for the beat. Sky for the art divine for the face below. Resist that for the one of the people, the feet for the kids, guns, the art, and find a region for the compass up with the heavens affair for the track and get the left, and then be found for the enriching and the fertile ground. Numerous man find holes far distant for the coast, and this will be the grace for the globes and infinite and my inhabitant for the unknown version. You can find a standing upon the brink for the what you never know, with the know to see the wonder with the eye can find it. There's progress. There's progress. There's progress. There's progress. There's progress. You're a pro. What's more the less, the more you know. Salutation comes out to those with eyes and the hands which we're here. I find for the rosy cheeks with this then but my life begins and where I have been. Behind what curtain were you from me? Head so long for where was I for the abyss? Speaking in tongue for the silent for the so many thousands you can find out beneath the dust. Did I choose chaos of lies for this? Cut I smile with tears. With lips, hands for the eyes, and ears to perceive. Welcome your churches when now I receive for that now. So long for there was nothing for the eternity for the little. Think for such joys as ears for the tongue, for the celebrate or receive, for the such sounds to hear, for such hands to feel, such feet beneath the skies, for the such ground to meet, for the distant new. Burdens of joys of which yellow for the golden pearls and excel. Such a sacred treasure for the limits and the boys, and this will be the such who does divine a dwelling for the organized and joints and this is the veins. And this will mean much wealth, and for the including all for that for the world contains, for the dust I rise and now for the nothing for the now. Awake for the bright the regions, for this is how you know my salutations to the gift from the God I take, for the earth, for the seas, for the light, for the day, for the skies, for the sun, for the stars, for the mind, for the if that prize. Long time before my mother's womb and I was born, the God preparing. There's progress. There's progress. There's progress. You're a pro. What's more the less, the more you know. Salutation comes out to those with eyes and hands which we're here. I find for the rosy cheeks with this then but my life begins and where I have been. Behind what curtain were you from me? Head so long for where was I for the abyss? Speaking in tongue for the silent for the so many thousands you can find out beneath the dust. Did I choose chaos of lies for this? Cut I smile with tears. With lips, hands for the eyes, and ears to perceive. Welcome your churches when now I receive for that now. So long for there was nothing for the eternity for the little. Think for such joys as ears for the tongue, for the celebrate or receive, for the such sounds to hear, for such hands to feel, such feet beneath the skies, for the such ground to meet, for the distant new. Burdens of joys of which yellow for the golden pearls and excel. Such a sacred treasure for the limits and the boys, and this will be the such who does find a dwelling for the organized and joints and this is the veins. And this will mean much wealth, and for the including all for that for the world contains. hands for the dust I rise, and now for the nothing for the now. Awake for the bright the regions, for this is how you know my salutations to the gift from the God I take, for the earth, for the seas, for the light, for the day, for the skies, for the sun, for the stars, for the mind, for the earth, for the prize. Long time before my mother's womb and I was born, God preparing this for this glorious store. This for the world for me adorned, into the Eden for the divine fair, for the so wide and bright, to come his son for the here, stranger here, stranger does not meet, stranger glorious see, stranger soar for the treasure, for the logic of the fair, for the world appear, for the strangers all the new to me, for the this will be the mind I should be, for the nothing was another stranger for the all, for the yet that brought the past. Find that for the strange, similarly for the shadows into water, for the disobedient, unexperienced, to the fancy, for the sweet mistake, for the dust is lie, for the mistake, for the false and intending for the to be true, and sinning and seeming wasn't somewhat for more than the view, for the desert to instruct that mind, for the things that lie behind, for the ministry with the show is to show, which afterwards to come to know, for this to be the what the fighting waters to break from another world, for the beneath that, for the thinking, for the wide, the lovely, spacious skies to reverse there, abused mine eyes to the fancy, other feet, for the came on to the touch to me, for the sun, the puddle, for the other did play, for the another world, for within it that I lay, beneath that water, for the people to drown, and yet for another, for the haven crown, another spacious region, for the seem to go, for the freely, for the moving to and from, for the bright and open space, and I saw the very face, and this would be the eyes, hands, feet. They had like mine, but another sun for the did them shine enough for the strange that people that only to find a wall. Yet I can never hear them talking enough for the throat, a little for the water, with the chink for the knife, for the dry oxygen, the horse that might drink for the dust, and be the worlds that should see. Admit it for the other, for the confines, and to behold that light, for the darkness and heat, for the cold, and call them all for them, for the be they called in vain, for there's not the speeches, and for the couldn't entertain. Die for the spec to define. Some other for the word, for the only the world, for the please my mind, for the pain. Saw that by these, for the you knew and the for the bottom, with the see so painfully singing, and not that fine, and found the kept the staff of the seal between, between defending for very few people, and I can find a chance, and that for another beat for the world, that's expectation, the exit for the beat. Sky for the art divine, for the face below. Presents that for the one of the people to feet, for the against the art and find a region for the compact up for the heavens affair, for the tracking of the land, for the can be found for the enriching the fertile ground. Numerous man find holds far distant for the coast, for this to be the great for the globes of the infinite and my inhabitant for the unknown version. You can find it standing upon the brink for the what you never know, with the know to see the wonder where the eye can find it.
Less. Salutation comes out for those with the eyes and the hands which we're here. I find for the rose of cheeks with this with me. Then when my life begins and where I have been. Behind what curtain were you from me? Head so long for where was I for the abyss? Speaking in tongues for the silence and so many thousand find out beneath the dust did I chew. Chaos alive for this felt I smiled with tears. Lips, hands for the eyes, your ears to perceive. Welcome your churches where now I receive for that now. So long for there was nothing for the eternity for the little. Think for such joys as ears for the tongue, for the celebrate will receive, for the such and sounds to hear, for such hands to feel, such feet. Beneath the skies for the such ground to meet, for the distant new. Burners of joys of which yellow for the golden pearls and exile. Excel, such a sacred treasure for the lemons and the boys, and this will be the substance does divine and dwelling for the organized joints and this is through the veins. And this will mean much wealth, and for the including all for that for the world contains, for the dust I rise and now for the nothing for the now, awake for the bright the regions, for this is how you know my salutations to the gift from the God I take, for the earth, for the seas, for the light, for the day, for the skies, for the sun, for the stars, for the mind, for every that prize. Long time before my mother's womb and I was born. God preparing this for this glorious store. This for the world for me adorned, into the Eden for the divine fair, for the so wide and bright to come his son for the here, stranger here, stranger does not meet, stranger glorious he, stranger soar for the treasure, for the logic of the fair, for the world appear, for the stranger all the new to me, for this to be the mind I should be, for the nothing was another stranger for the old.